In today's Leeds news, under 21 moves on loan, Jack Harrison's Italian exit, competition for Danilo Doekhi, James Justin or Jayden Bogle debate, and today's rumour mill stories on Mark McKenzie and Joel Piroe. Hey folks, welcome back to the Leeds View for Tuesday morning, the 13th of January with your Leeds United news. Jer here to give you a bit of detail this morning. The transfer window looks like it's starting to move from a Leeds perspective, but more outs than in at this point. But that was always likely to be a case that Leeds need to move some on before they brought some in. But it could be an indication the Leeds are about getting ready to move some players in as well. Leeds last night in the FA Cup fourth round were drawn against Birmingham City, so we've that away game, another away game to look forward to. We'll have a podcast out tonight as well, just looking at the news of the week, looking back at the weekend's action against Derby and looking ahead to the Fulham game this weekend, and some interesting news coming out around Leeds' rivals down the bottom end of the table, with Lucas Paqueta looking to leave West Ham United and Douglas Luiz looking to leave Nottingham Forest. So not all great for those sides right now, and we'll see if Leeds can take advantage of those situations in the next couple of weeks. We'll crack on today then. We'll start off with an exit from the club, and it's an under 21 one to get us going. Another move for a Leeds United under 21 player, and Devin Brockie is the latest to go out on loan. The Leeds United under 21 attacker Brockie has joined Northern Premier League side Cleethorpstown FC on an initial 1 month loan. Brockie now becomes the third player out on loan right now, after Rory Mahady and Connor Douglas are both out on loan this month, and the fourth player in total to go out from the under 21s this season, after Daryl Ombang had his loan earlier this year. Cleethorpes manager Craig Roos welcomed Brockie to the side, and he said the following: "We're delighted to welcome Devin to the club. He's held in very high regard at Leeds United, and we thank them for trusting him with the next part of his development." Brockie has got experience against Northern Premier League sides this season after Leeds took part in the National League Cup. He also played in the EFL Trophy as well this season. Brockie will be a very physical attacker as well, so it could suit him down to the ground. And it's a really good opportunity for him to stretch himself and get some first team minutes on a regular basis, at least for this month, and we'll see how it goes. What's happened with other players this month, they have had their loans extended on a monthly basis when they've done well, and we'll see if Devin Brockie gets on well at Cleethorpes, and we'll keep an eye on him in loan watch as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about Jack Harrison's exit from Leeds. Safe to say that Jack Harrison's return to Leeds United hasn't pulled up any trees so far this season. He's yet to register a goal or an assist, and has only created one big chance for Leeds. Last season at Everton, Harrison only registered one goal with no assists throughout the total season last year for them. And Harrison has only started once so far this season for Leeds, and has struggled for minutes and has fallen down the pecking order under Daniel Farke. Last week, there was a report in Spain that suggested that Valencia might be interested in bringing Jack Harrison in on loan, cancelling the loan of Largi Ramazani in a kind of a loan swap situation there. But since then, Ramazani has gone on to make 2 appearances for Valencia in the last 2 games, and it doesn't look like that loan is going to be cancelled, at least for right now. However, Harrison may have another option. It comes from very reliable sources last night and today. The story broke last night when Gianluca Di Marzio put a post out that said that Italian side Fiorentina were very interested in bringing Jack Harrison into the club as their third signing of the January transfer window. Fiorentina currently sit third bottom in Serie A, 3 points behind Lecce in safety, and they brought in former Leeds United winger Manar Solomon last week after his loan at Villarreal was cancelled after a pretty unsuccessful period at the club there. Marzio said last night that Fiorentina management were making advances for Jack Harrison. They felt that he could definitely fit the bill in their front three. They play with a 4-3-3 formation, and felt that because Harrison can operate as a left or a right player, he would suit them down to the ground. This morning, though, there has been updated information on this, and according to Fabrizio Romano, the deal is more than just talk. It could be about to be completed, or as you watch this, it may have already been done. Romano says that Leeds are looking at a 6-month loan for Harrison to join Fiorentina, with an option to make the move permanent, with a 3-year contract on the table and a transfer fee of €10 million. That's about £8.4 million. From a Leeds standpoint, Leeds would obviously prefer to get the money in right now for Harrison, but Harrison is 29 years of age, does have 2.5 years left on his contract, and is on 90 grand a week. So getting that wages off the bill, which was likely part of this deal, could be very important for Leeds if they want to bring anybody in. The fact that Daniel Farke will be allowing a wide player who is still part of his squad to go on loan means that Leeds possibly could be making moves to bring somebody else in to fill that space. Daniel Farke said he didn't want to lose anyone and upset the balance of the squad that he has right now. And outside of 1 or 2 games, Harrison has been a mainstay in at least the matchday squad. So maybe there's an indication if Leeds are allowing Harrison to leave on loan, that they are looking potentially at bringing somebody else in, or maybe they're looking at giving Sam Chambers a regular position on the bench and progressing the under-21 player as well. But it's an interesting one. It makes sense from a Harrison's perspective to go and play some minutes, and maybe he needs a completely fresh start away from England. And from a Leeds perspective, they need to get a player off their books who isn't making an impact and isn't playing this season for the club outside of his performances in the FA Cup for Leeds and in the League Cup earlier this year. Let's move on. Let's talk about a potential incoming and competition picking up for Danilo Doekhi. Yesterday afternoon, Sky Sports confirmed that Leeds did indeed have interest in Danilo Doekhi and talked up the centre-back and how he would easily fit in to Leeds United's back three formation, which he currently plays with Union Berlin. And he would add a goal-scoring threat from set pieces after he scored again at the weekend for the Bundesliga side. Yesterday, Florian Plettenberg said that Leeds United's preference in this situation was to wait until the end of the season and bring the player in on a free transfer and maybe sign a pre-contract agreement with the centre-half this month. This morning, though, in an exclusive shared by Florian Plettenberg, he claims that Bundesliga side Wolfsburg are now in the mix and are making a move to sign the Dutch centre-half this month. Plettenberg says that Wolfsburg are eyeing several targets, including Brentford centre-back Christopher Ayer, and Doekhi is high on their list and a player that they would like to bring in this month if possible. However, there are other reports coming out of Germany as well that say that Leeds are in a very strong position in this situation and that Union Berlin have already lined up a replacement for Doekhi so he can move on. The player's representatives said earlier this month that the player would prefer an option to move to the Premier League. The player himself has said it is his dream to play in the Premier League, so all of that might mean that the player might turn down a move to stay in the Bundesliga. There is the other possibility on this as well. This is all agent work and talk to try and drum up interest in his client and get him a move this month. Lots of people have said, what's the point in him moving this month? Surely it makes more sense for him as a player to wait till the end of the season. He might not have an option then. Leeds might have better options. Other Premier League sides might have better options in the summer, and it might be a perfect move for him right now if he wants to get in, back himself and make a name for himself. But Fraser Fletcher also believes that Leeds United do have a deal to be done here should they decide they want to do it. The transfer fee is the likely issue that's stalling this one, and Leeds were said earlier this month to be playing the waiting game to try and force Union Berlin to lower their asking price. So there's a lot going on with this one. There's a lot of clubs interested. West Ham were also mentioned, so were Sunderland. Aston Villa have been mentioned with interest in him as well. So he has got plenty of interest. He's a decent centre-half, plays in the back three on the right-hand side, but there is another player who's popped up today that might be another option for Leeds United should this one not go through. But let's move on. James Justin has proved to be a very tidy bit of business for Leeds United in the summer since he arrived this season, and he started with mostly cameos for Leeds this season, but has grown into the position at right back over the year, and he's looked very solid when he has been asked to come in and do a job for Leeds. There is a debate online as to whether James Justin or Jayden Bogle should be the first choice right back for Leeds, and the two of them bring very different skill sets to the table. From a defensive perspective, James Justin is a very reliable, very solid defensive fullback, where Jayden Bogle is an excellent attacking wingback / fullback as well, and both of them probably lack what the other one has in strength, so they kind of compensate for each other quite well in that and give Daniel Farke options in different types of matches. But from a Leeds perspective, they've got two players that are competing aggressively for that position, and something likely Daniel Farke would like to have elsewhere. As the debate rages online around who should have first choice, Daniel Farke was asked by Leeds Live, has the pecking order changed over recent weeks with James Justin's performances, and is he pushing Jayden Bogle for that right back spot? And Daniel Farke responded with this. He started the last few Premier League games. He doesn't have to push anyway, so he's had those games to play, of course, also due to some injury problems, that is clear. But James Justin has more than 100 Premier League games. He doesn't have to prove anything, and he even has a cap for England and a very experienced player, a top character. I'm just happy for him right now that he's a bit more in the spotlight, because he was excellent from the first day he walked in. Top character, top teammate, very mature performances in training. Farke said that it's a good sign that all of his fullbacks are getting greedy and trying to get on the score sheet and get assists for Leeds this season, and he's happy right now with having good solid competition in the fullback areas. He'd likely want one more fullback in there to allow Justin maybe operate more as a left back and give him another option on the right back, or bring in an additional left back to put a bit more competition on Gabby Goodmunson, who's been excellent for Leeds so far this season, but it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Both of them have been excellent for Leeds so far this season, and long may that continue. Right, let's move into the rumour mill territory. As normal, take it with a pinch of salt. They're only rumours, back page stories. I'll give you the detail. You can decide what you think. Start off with an incoming one, and it's Mark McKenzie, and this one has come absolutely out of the blue. But according to TalkSport Alex Crook, Leeds United are one of several clubs interested in Toulouse centre-half Mark McKenzie. According to Crook, Leeds were interested in McKenzie back in 2024 when he was then playing at Belgian side Genk. And Farke might want more defensive cover on that right-hand side now that Sebastian Bornau is injured. And there is still a lot of rumour that Bornau could leave Leeds this month as well. The other side to this is it could be an additional option should a move for Danilo Doekhi fall through. McKenzie's rumoured to cost in and around £5 million, and he's a 6 foot tall centre half who has started 15 times for Toulouse this season. They currently sit 8th in League. He would be an option for Leeds, as I say, to replace Sebastian Bornau. He's got decent level of experience, right-sided centre half, ticks the height box from Leeds' perspective, 26 years of age as well, very much coming into his prime years, and a player that Leeds apparently looked at before. We'll keep an eye on that one. Let's talk about Joel Piroe. As we know, Joel Piroe said already this month that he's not necessarily keen on a move away from Leeds in January and would prefer to review his situation in the summer. However, the Telegraph journalist Jerome Kepchens has been speaking today, and he said that PSV Eindhoven are looking for an alternative to their current striker Ricardo Pepe, and Piroe is a name that is on their shortlist. Speaking to the Dutch outlet, Kepjens said the following. Last year, it was the end of January, and then Pepe injured his knee. That ended up with Lucas Perez as a replacement, and that wasn't a success. Hopefully, they'll have some success with their stopgap measures now, because that's exactly what it is. Of course, one name that has been mentioned is Piroe, who obviously plays less for Leeds United now, but is doing really well at Leeds, where he had some wonderful years. As things stand right now, Piroe primarily wants to keep fighting at Leeds, and Leeds don't necessarily want to lose him, but they would be open to look at those kind of options. Piroe was linked with Eindhoven over the course of the summer, and Leeds United and the player have both confirmed as this season has gone on that there was interest in Piroe from the Netherlands, and Eindhoven have been a name that have been continuously mentioned with him. Piroe, as we say, obviously said that he's not necessarily interested in a move right now. Daniel Farke doesn't want to weaken his side unless he can get other options in. Whether a permanent option or a loan option is there, we don't know right now. But Eindhoven are very much still in the mix, and that report is coming directly from the Netherlands. So we'll have to wait and see if there is something there. It was decent in the FA Cup game. Thought he was trying to do an awful lot on his own, but was very much involved in the game and trying to put himself very much in Daniel Farke's plans. But it's an interesting one. If he's not going to play a huge amount of football, he's got a World Cup coming up. Well, a World Cup qualifier coming up in March to try and get to the World Cup. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Joel Piroe. Folks, that'll be it for me this morning. Back this evening with the podcast. Talk to you later. See you then.